lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark blues.
Well, good evening to all you blue baggers out there in social media land. It's been a while since we've heard that song. For those of you who have forgotten who I am, I'm Bangkok Joe. Yes, I'm back after a 2-week holiday working off my company, and joining me as usual is the former president of the Carltonians. I was nearly going to say former life member of the Carlton Football Club. I think you still are, aren't you, Vince? Mr. Vince Lochisano. How are you, Vince?
G'day, Joe. Yes, last time I checked, I'm still alive. But good to have you back. You said it's been a long time since we've heard the song. It's almost been as long as we haven't seen you for. So you must be the good luck charm. You've come back.
Maybe that's the correlation, Vince. The correlation.
Yes.
Now, Vince, as you well know, we are on a bit of a time limit tonight because we've got to accommodate all 3 viewers of the double-double. No, we've got double-double coming on. It's at 8 o'clock, isn't it, Vince, double-double?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so
it better be, because we've brought our show forward by an hour.
We'll get straight into it. Let's get a bit of admin happening. As you well know, we are a social media group. So at Facebook, you can find us at Blue Sunday or at the Jumper Punch. And for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, you will see us at the Jumper Punch. You can go back and view all of our past shows. So please like, share, and subscribe. It helps us to help you get a better show. What happened then? Add to the stage. As per usual, the show is proudly sponsored by my company, Retired Working For You Tours. We do everything Thailand. The week of the grand final, Vince, we've got 100 people coming in from all over the world. So even if Carlton do make the grand final, which I'm sure they will, I won't be there to watch it, so you'll have to cheer on for me. So, Vince.
Well, I believe you are coming down to Australia or down to Melbourne during September, but you're flying back for grand final week, so that doesn't say much for your confidence in us making the grand final, that's for sure.
It's called money. It's called money. Just a couple of other things, Vince.
Yes.
The last bit of admin. Don't forget, the boys are having the Jumper Punch show. It's live. It's a live show. It's on Saturday, the 31st of August, so not far now. I believe tickets are selling fast. So once they're gone, there will be no more left. So it's Saturday, 31st of August, 7 p.m. Is it the Lazio Marche Club? Is that how you pronounce it? Lazio Marche?
That's right. Yep.
Lazio Marche Club. Whereabouts is that, Vince, for those of you in
That's
Melbourne?
In Broadway. It's 237 Broadway in Reservoir. And, yes, definitely not Broadway in New York, but Broadway in Reservoir. And a nice little venue, very, how can we say, very comfy and sort of,
Cozy?
Cozy. Yeah, cozy little atmosphere in there. And I reckon they'd probably cater for about 150 in there if they had to. So, that's where they had the first live show, and they're going back there for the second one. So this one won't be a sit-down thing. It'll be a stand-up cocktail party style
I'm getting
event.
to that. $59.
Finger food being served throughout the night.
Yeah, it's $59, and I'm guessing drinks are at bar prices.
I think the link is the link on the socials there.
Yeah, there is a link underneath for those of you who want to go in there. So go in and have a look. Yeah, so get your tickets. They're selling fast. Go and see the boys. I'm sure it'll be an exciting show. Last one, don't forget, Blues Crypto is a big sponsor of the Jumper Punch channel. So download the Phantom wallet from the App Store and join Blues Crypto. And last but not least, our lovely Rash, DJ Rash, has a book out for the record and off the record. So I'm sure it's available at every good bookstore or on Amazon. So
just for the record, whatever was off the record now sounds like it's on the record.
It is. So Have a look at that.
There
Okay,
you go.
Vince, let's get straight into it. People don't want to listen to you and me. They want to listen to the man of the hour who has just come back on the red eye, Mr. David Rees-Jones. How are you, David?
Yeah, a little bit tired. I think I've only had about 3 hours sleep last night. So, yeah, on the red eye back. And
I heard you only had 3 hours sleep
very,
for the whole weekend, Reece. I heard you were that going hell for leather between functions and radio stations and all sorts of things.
I tell you, and it's a lot easier to do when you're not drinking alcohol too. So I've done it a lot better than I normally do. So yeah, no, but terrific weekend though. We had a function on Friday night. Sticks, myself, and Diesel. Well, Diesel didn't turn up, so I don't know what happened. I think he's scared of me, but
I think he was worried about the square up.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, we got Cooter along. We got Cooter as off the bench. So
Fantastic.
The fans.
Is that true? He's going for Lord Mayor? Is he running for Lord Mayor or something?
Yeah, he's going for Melbourne Lord Mayor, and
is Ange going to be his first lady?
I did say, yeah, Ange will be. But the one thing about it, the joint needs cleaning up. I mean, and the first thing I'd do is get rid of those bloody bike paths, which won't happen. But
hallelujah,
that's the first thing to do to make the city a much better place.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Anyway, boys, as I said, we're on a bit of a tight schedule. So Vince, let's get straight into it. The Blues ventured over to WA yesterday. Give us the score, Vince.
Okay, well, as you can see there, it was a comprehensive 10-goal-plus victory to Carlton. West Coast Eagles, 4 goals, 10-34. Really quite systematically taken apart by the Blues, the young baby Blues, 14-15-99, a 65-point thrashing. The only disappointing thing about that scoreline is we were within 1 point of getting the ton, but we didn't quite get the ton. And if that's the most disappointing part about the day, well, then you know you've had a pretty good one.
Okay, would you want to go through the goal kickers very quickly, and then we'll go through the stats?
Yes, well, I just don't have them right here with me now, Joe, but I believe it was Brodie Kemp who got 4, Matthew Owies got 3, Matthew Kennedy got 2, and then there were single goal kickers. And those single goal kickers were highlighted by 2 of our youngsters in Jackson Binns, who scored his first goal in AFL football, and Ashton Moyer, who came on as a sub, who kicked a miraculous first goal in AFL football on his right foot there, literally in midair, kicking it behind his body. So fantastic goal to the young kid, and they were tremendous yesterday, Carlton. 14-15-99, that was a good scoreline. And really after the Eagles got the first 2 goals of the game, it was just all the Blues.
Yeah, I thought we struggled.
As the stats will now show.
I thought we struggled a little bit in front of goal, but it was good that they were lowering their eyes at least this time. Vince, let's go through the stats.
Yep. Well, as you can see there, I think the one stat that we haven't put up there, but it was fairly even, and that's the reason it's not there. But the only one that we, I think, got beaten in was the hitouts, marginally, only marginally. But really, when you look at clearances and that sort of thing, it really didn't matter who won the hitouts. As you can see there, we had so much more of the ball. Disposals, 407 to 319. Way more kicks, way more hand passes. And by the way, Joe, I think you got those stats wrong on West Coast. It should be 184 kicks, I think it should be. Anyway.
It is. 135 plus 184.
Yeah, we normally put the kicks first and then the hand passes. But anyway.
No, that's how you sent it to me. How you sent it to me.
Okay. Contested possessions, 152 to 124. Uncontested possessions, 245 to 186. So had way more of the ball than they did. Marks inside 50, 15 to 6. Now, we haven't seen that happen for quite a while, and we didn't have the 2 tall players in Curnow and Mackay up there. So, as you said before, we lowered our eyes and kicked a lot more to leading targets, and that was the most pleasing thing about that particular stat. The clearances, 44 to 32, including 11 centre clearances to 6, and 33 stoppage clearances to 26. Inside 50 entries, again, we led there with 52 to 44. The most impressive thing about that was that we actually had 29 scoring shots from those 52 entries. That's more than 50%. That should be 56%, not 565. So I don't know what happened there.
The percentage is it's the key. It's the 5 key. So I've obviously haven't pushed the shift
That's
button.
all right. Well, we always know that there's going to be a little mistake here or there. Shooting accuracy, 48%. As you said, we were a little bit inaccurate, 14, 15, but, close enough to 50% accuracy between goals and points. Whereas the Eagles only had 29%, 4 goals from their 14 scoring shots. Pretty disappointing return, I would have thought. And the time in front was, mostly ourselves after that initial 18 minutes of the game. Then it was all Carlton after that. And the biggest lead, again, as I said, West Coast got the first 2 goals. They were 12 points in front at the 18-minute mark of the first quarter. And on the 14-minute mark of the last quarter, we had our biggest lead of 66 points, which only got reduced by 1 point in the end to 65. And that was the end result there. So a comprehensive victory. We won in just about every department that mattered. And it was a very impressive performance by a very inexperienced Carlton team, but amazingly led by Patrick Cripps. And I thought Jacob Wiedering down back did an enormous job. And some of our really important leaders came to the fore. So, a lot of people had lost hope about us. But now that we've won that game and Fremantle lost theirs to GWS, we're back in the 8. And so our destiny is in our own hands, I guess.
Just an interesting point about Patrick Cripps. I was listening to the radio as I was flying back from Phuket, and they had the WA commentators. What's his name? Gossage.
Yeah, Tim Gossage.
And they had an ex-player. I can't remember who it was. And all 3 of them said that Patrick Cripps has sealed the Brownlow with 3 votes in that game.
Probably.
So it'd be interesting.
I don't see how he gets beaten myself. I know people go on about Bontempelli. I'm not sure that Bontempelli has had as dominant the second half of the season as he did the first half, but I guess time will tell. He would deserve one if he won it, but Cripper, even in games that we've lost, has been our shining light. And I can't see how the umpires could possibly ignore him, even in games where we're getting beaten. So in a game like that where we won, he was the one yet again that was leading from the front and just, he did all the really hard work in the middle of the ground, and he looks as fit and as strong and as confident as I've ever seen him.
David, you were there. Tell us, why did we win? What impressed you? What didn't impress you?
Well, one of the reasons we won was because of the amount of injuries we had, and we weren't predictable. We went to a ground and we weren't predictable. We go to matches with our best team in, and we're a very predictable team. I mean, the opposition knows how we're going to play. We got to the ground yesterday. We didn't know how they were going to play, especially with the small forward line, Kemp and Kennedy down there, and how they were going to do it. And to be perfectly honest, everything suited us. Look, let's be blunt here. The West Coast are not a very good football team. Actually, they're a pretty ordinary football team, and they got a lot of blokes who are well past it. I mean, Jack Darling can't bend below his knees. He's played a year or maybe 2 years too long. They've hung on to some of those premiership blokes, Gaff and so on. Sheed, I mean, they're gone. But even players like Liam Ryan, who can play sort of thing, he looks tired all the time. They don't look fit. They're a bit of a rabble. So, but on the flip side of it, we went into it poured on Saturday. It rained heavily. They played a game of rugby union. Australia played South Africa there on Saturday night, that sort of got into the ground a little bit. It rained a bit on Sunday, but it was windy. It was windy. It was blowing around. So you would have seen a lot of foot skills and some errors in the kicking and that. But that was down to the conditions. But everything that happened suited us because it meant the ball was not going to be delivered precisely. It was going to be a bit chaotic. And the great thing was with those young blokes coming into the team and instilling a bit of enthusiasm, I think, our boys just went to work and we had a lot of run. We had a lot of run in our team, a lot more run than we had previously. The moves, I mean, we haven't made moves. We, as I said, we're being predictable. Putting Ollie Hollands into the back line was a masterstroke. That was to allow Binns to play on a wing. And Ollie Hollands, he ran ragged. He was terrific. He just ran hard all day and created space and really was fantastic. So and I thought it allowed some of our other players. I mean, Corey Durden's second quarter. I haven't seen Corey Durden play like that ever. He was everywhere. He was getting in. He was just being a footballer. Normally, you just don't see him. You don't see him out there, and it's a shame he did his shoulder because I spoke to Aaron Hamill before the game, and I said, how much of these blokes, restricted him, where they've got to run and when can they use their footy brain sort of thing. And I reckon they released the bloody, let them play footy, just
break
let
the
them,
shackles.
because they did, they couldn't rely on them, the new guys coming in. I mean, you had to just rely on their football ability, and they all, they were a little bit quiet early. Binns was quiet. Cooper Lord was a little bit quiet early, but they got into the game. That Ashton Moyer, he's got some sticky hands, and he's got some footy smarts too. But the only thing I think is when I'm looking at the team with just the same blokes coming in and out all year, why haven't we seen these kids? Why haven't we seen these kids? They haven't been prepared to take a risk. And that's the selection committee, the coaches haven't been prepared to take a risk. They've stuck with the tried and true, but the tried and true is too predictable. And we're getting found out because of that. So this was a great game to just showcase, the talent we have got and take some risks in players, have a bit of faith in, and, our selection integrity was spoken about a lot with Jackson, especially not being able to get a game. And it just goes to show, you put these kids in, they create a bit of excitement and the players around them get excited. It's fantastic. It's always great when you're playing and a guy's having his first game and he's nervous beforehand and everything. I was lucky enough to be in there with Sticks. I presented Cooper Lord with his jumper and Sticks presented Ashton Moyer with his. And you can see the nervousness. The families are in there. Everyone's a little bit nervous, but the players are right behind them. The players are encouraging them and, getting around them. And that's fantastic. And, I just think, look, don't get carried away with that performance. But I think a lot of things did suit us. The conditions, it was wet. It was very windy. It was a hard day to sort of, for marking type players. So we're probably better off without Harry and Charlie anyway. But the guys who went out there had a damn crack, and that was what we wanted. That's what didn't happen the week before. They ran in numbers. They outnumbered the Eagles. Once again, they're not a very good side, but geez, it makes it exciting coming up against St Kilda this week. And I think we do need a bit of quality back in there to be able to beat St Kilda. I think Harry or Charlie or both or whatever, we need them back in there. But even I think they'd be a bit excited watching and sitting at home and saying, geez, have a look at these blokes. They're just having a real crack. And, it's amazing what that'll do. And we attacked the Eagles really hard, which was great to see. It was just a fantastic day for the Carlton Footy Club and under all the odds. And Eagles started favourites and, they won 2 games in a row and we're in pretty good form and playing on the home track. And, we wiped them.
David, what was the feeling like in the rooms before the game, knowing there was all these new guys and, could you sense a bit of excitement? Did you think they were on?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, when we sort of, we got up and said a few things, and they, the players got their jumpers, and, and they really got around them, and you could really sense a bit of excitement there. And yeah, so I mean, that doesn't win you games of footy, of course, but to take it out and work as hard as they did, I credit and great credit goes to our skipper. I mean, he was just fantastic. He led by example. Yeah, he did the ruck work. He was contesting marks. I think the other side, I mean, I think I mentioned about 3 or 4 weeks ago about putting Brody Kemp down the forward line and giving him a crack down there, and I mean, we're forced to make these sort of moves where I don't know why they don't see them earlier, why they don't just react to it when you have got injuries and you're trying to play Lewis Young down there. I mean, Jesus Christ, he had no idea, sort of thing, and he plays okay as a backman, and he had Jack Darling, who's bloody useless. So it suited us, and we're able to get away with it all. But yeah, look, it was just a terrific effort, and I tip my hat to those boys. It was a pleasure being there.
Is Cripps one of the better Carlton players you've seen, David?
Oh yeah. There's the style of football he plays. Is very, very good, and look, he can get shown up on a real quick paddock, which we had last week, and he didn't have a great game last week, but when the conditions are dour, and I actually said before the game, the rain and everything, I said Cripps will get 3 votes tomorrow. He's an absolute certain to be best on ground, and he was, because it suited him. It was suited. It was a game for hard, tough footballers, blokes who keep their eye on the ball, blokes who are prepared to put their body on the line, and that was us, and it wasn't West Coast. So our guys were fantastic. They really worked hard, and it was a deserved win, and it's going to be hard to knock any. If there is blokes coming back to make changes, from that team. It's going to be really tough, and that's what you want to have. Blokes who want to come in and stamp their little bit of authority on that position that they've been given, and even Mark Pitnet, I'll tip my hat to him.
He played well.
He's been down a little bit and been beaten, and I thought he had a reasonable game too, but. It all happened in the middle, and it was Cripps and Hewitt and Walsh and the guys, our experienced guys through there, who really were the driving force, within our team anyway. They were the people who got us going. Our back line was fantastic. They, really restricted. Wheater's he's a consummate backman, and just he does everything right. I think he got outmarked once, and it shocked me, sort of thing, at one stage. You're not used to seeing it happen, and so when he does get outmarked, you sort of, Jesus, did that really happen? You have to watch the replay, and what happened there?
Or if he makes a mistake.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Well, he doesn't, and even when he spoils, he knows when to spoil, when to mark. It's always defensive. He hits, punches towards the boundary line every time, or punches, through the sticks or whatever for a point. So, yeah, he was a terrific leader back there. But Newman was good too. I thought he was just a pest out there, and getting the ball. But he ruffles feathers out there too. There was one time where he grabbed hold of Harley Reid and threw him to the ground, and just off the play a little bit, and it started a bit of a blue, and that gets the juices going. So it was all Vince, good. All good.
Vince, you've been very quiet.
Oh, just being respectful of our expert commentator and letting him.
Why are you starting in round 23?
Letting him talk without being interrupted for a change. Look, don't get me wrong. I loved watching the game in terms of how we played. Great to see the young kids all getting a go. We've been calling for it for a long time, especially with guys like Jackson Binns. And it was a feel-good game for our supporters. I mean, it renewed a lot of faith in the team. to win by over 10 goals in a game where, the opposition actually went in favourites, which to some people was expected, but a lot of other people would have been very surprised about that. You can only beat what's served up to you. I thought West Coast did not show up to play at all. It's almost like they'd won their 2 games in a row previous to that, and it's almost like they just did not turn up. I was surprised by that, because I thought with Andrew Gaff's last game and Jamie Cripps having his 250th that they might actually fire up a bit, and it was their last home game for the season. But it just goes to prove that, what's the old saying, Joe? You always tell me that saying, you can, what is it? You can polish a turd, or you can, it's still
you can't polish a turd. You can't polish a turd, it's still a turd.
Yeah, they are absolutely shithouse. They really are. They are terrible. And it's going to be a very big job, whoever gets that senior job. I'll tell you one thing, Reece, I reckon Jared Schofield just about had his papers signed. Losing that game to Carlton when they went in favourites, I reckon that wouldn't have done his chances of getting the senior job too much good. But
he's the only one who wants it, though. No one else wants it. Everyone's pulled out of it.
You're probably right.
Everyone else has pulled out. Why would you? You'd only be doing it for the money. They've got a poor list, and they've got a lot of blokes over 30, and who are on the way out. When you think about it, you got McGovern, Cripps, Gaff. Kelly's not the player he was, sort of thing. Leon Ryan. No doubt they have to get rid of some old dead wood, and they probably should have done it a year, 2 years, even 3 years ago. I think Adam Simpson is at fault there. He should have started weaning those premiership players that won. They won him a premiership. Good on him, but you
after
still
got COVID, after the COVID year, they should have started clearing him out.
And he stuck with them mainly because they won him a premiership, and play. I think Wolsey got a bit too loyal in '87 to the players who won him a premiership, and and I think that hurt him in '89. He was playing blokes who were out of form, and because they'd played in '87 premiership, he stuck with them and paid a heavy price.
Well, look. As I said, you can only beat what's served up to you, and we well and truly did that. I'm not sure what this says about the team that we're going to have to put on the park this coming week. I don't know how many of those players are still going to be played next week. If there are players,
there's a couple of injuries, Vince.
Sorry.
Yeah, there is.
A couple more injuries.
Durden and Williams.
Durden got injured with his shoulder and what have you.
And
Williams might have a hamstring or a back-related hamstring injury. But all I'm saying is that while that was an impressive performance against substandard opposition, I'm not sure what it says about what's possible this week, and whether. I saw St Kilda's game against Geelong on the weekend, and they were very Jekyll and Hyde the way they played that game. They were pretty ordinary in the first half, but, didn't they demolish Geelong in the second half? So they're a potentially dangerous side. It's going to be a real head-scratcher to see who keeps their spot, who doesn't, who's available to come back from injury. If Harry and Charlie are fit to come back, do you put them straight back in? Do you bring any of the others that might be fit, like Sard or I think Fogarty's gone for the year. I think who was the other one that's gone for the year? I think who was the other player from last week that I'm trying to think?
Jack Martin, probably.
Jack Martin, I think he's gone, is he?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not sure. I mean, it's going to be a bit of a conundrum for the selection committee to decide who stays in and who doesn't. But St Kilda are a vastly different outfit to West Coast, especially at Marvel Stadium. So I think we can go into that game a little bit more confident after that performance, but I don't think we're absolute certainties to win this week.
No,
not at all. But I think we're going to go in with a bit of confidence, and to be perfectly honest, we're playing for something. They're playing for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
if you can't get up this week,
you really need to get on top of them early, because they're not going to throw the towel in, but they're not playing for anything, if you know what I mean. So if you can get on top of them and just do the grind, they'll start thinking of Mad Monday and whatever they're bloody got coming up and pre-season next year sort of thing, because that's human nature. It's just human nature. I mean,
actually, I was going to ask you that question, Reece. Have you ever been in that situation where, you played through the late 80s and early 90s when we became a pretty ordinary team? Did you find that in the last game of the year, or maybe even the last 2 or 3 games of the year, if you got nothing much to play for, there's no chance of making finals, did you find that there was this sort of lackadaisical attitude going into games amongst the playing group, or did the group actually say, geez, I might be playing for my footballing future here. If I don't actually show what I'm capable of, I could be delisted or traded or, left on the scrap heap?
You've always got pride in your performance, but you're not going to do a Kenny Hunter running back into a pack, or put something like that right when you realise that the season's gone, your season's finished. Your mind does sort of it does allow you to sort of think selfishly at times about getting the group and having a good preseason and because especially if you got talented players in your team, you can bounce back pretty quick sort of thing. So and we had those in '89. We lost the last game of the year to Brisbane up there and got stuck up there. Actually, it was the plane strike, which wasn't too bad. We got stuck on the Gold Coast. It was a good place to be stuck for about 4 or 5 days before they could get us home. But they weren't so happy about paying for us up there because, it was a disappointing year. It was a year that Wolsey got sacked, and we got done by the Brisbane in the last game of the year. So, and disappointingly too. So, you have those sort of years, and that's what I was
just wondering how the St Kilda players would be tackling this game. As you said, nothing technically to play for other than personal pride and to finish the year off on a good note and to sort of provide a platform to plan for the following year, I guess. But I don't know what else Ross.
It's always good to win.
Can motivate them with.
It's always good to win the last game. I can tell you what's going to motivate them is Ross Lyon and Stephen Silvani, and they will want them to put us out of the race. So
exactly,
and that's what's going to motivate them.
I know, but they're not playing. They're not playing. They might be motivated to get us out, but they're the coach and the list manager. They're not out there having to put their bodies on the line and they're going to, as you said, doing a Kenny Hunter.
Well, they're going to want to see who's going to be part of the future. They're going to be saying to them, I mean, who wants to be part of it? We're going to be looking at you. We're going to be seeing, because they're going to consider themselves finals, next year. They played finals last year.
They're playing this year.
Well, they did. They played finals last year. They had a disappointing year this year, so they'll be looking at it and they'll be looking at the players who want to be there and who want to stand up in the big games. So this is their last chance to really show that they want to be there. And they're going to be tough opposition this week. They play Marvel very, very well. They play, and they play a very, very defensive. I'm almost hoping that Charlie and Harry don't come up because we're going to become too predictable otherwise. It's just going to. I like that chaos that went in. Some of the ball that was going in there on the ground, it was bouncing around, bobbling around. It just put them under pressure. The defenders, you could see them panicking and kicking around corners. They were really they panicked. So, and we haven't done that all year. We haven't put a real back line under pressure all year, and part of that reason is because of the players we had down there. I mean, when we did bomb it in, it did get marked, and so it was we're kicking more, looking to kick it into space than we were,
Well, even one of the first passages of play yesterday, we saw Matthew Kennedy, one of our first, sorties forward. Matthew Kennedy, I think, got a mark, and then delivered a beautiful pass to Brodie Kemp on the lead. And I thought, geez, I hope this keeps up. And it pretty much did. That's how they played, didn't they? They had lead up forwards where they had to lower their eyes.
Yep.
And we've been calling for that for a long time. But, if hypothetically Harry and Charlie do play this week, what are you going to do with Brodie Kemp? Are you going to keep him down there, or are you going to put him back to the back line? These are the sort of questions that need answers, don't they?
Forward. We need another target down there. And the good thing about the guys, whether it was Kemp or whether it was Kennedy or Cripper when he was down there, the blokes who went down, they contested and brought the ball to the ground. If they didn't mark, the ball was hitting the deck. And that's where we were dangerous. And that's where we had numbers. And, our smaller forwards, I thought, did a terrific job. And they showed a bit of flair. I mean, you sort of worry about not having Fogarty in there because he's we have 10 tackles in our forward 50, and he 5 of them sort of thing every week. So he's the guy who does all that. But we had we were really putting the pressure on, and a lot of that was just the amount of run. We're really running with the ball. As I said before, Ollie Hollins, his brother Elijah, he's a terrific player. I mean, this is his first full year of football, and
done well.
You can see he's getting a bit tired, but I reckon it picked him up a bit on the weekend. Just those younger blokes and that being out there, I think it put a bit of spring in his step again. And he's going to be a terrific player for quite a few years. And it
was interesting that they played Ollie Hollins off a half-back flank in Adam Sard's absence and allowed Jackson Binns to run on his wing, and he really worked into the game quite well. And the longer it went on, I thought the better he played and capped it off with a goal in the last 10 minutes. And of course, Ashton Moyer came on as well in that last half of the last quarter, and he stamped his presence on the field for sure, didn't he?
Well, Ollie Hollins is just a running machine. He really is, and he might have found a new spot there. He was terrific back there, and that he probably ran as much as I've seen a backman run. He was putting himself into position. Normally, he's running up and down the wings. He's running his, what do they call it? The
running patterns.
His running pattern for a wingman. He's up and back and up and back. At least he was able to create. He was running and he was, out there running, demanding the ball and calling for it, and unpredictable. That was the thing. He was doing things that he would have been taught when he's a kid playing in midfield or whatever, and using his running ability to run to get to where the ball is or to receive the ball rather than the running patterns that they, drill into him sort of thing. So he becomes, it really worked in our favour, and hopefully the coaching panel look at it and realise what they've got there. Realise they've got to shuffle things around. And, we get on here every week and the people will Voss hasn't got a plan B. And I think they get a bit scared to have a plan B or try something like these young kids, like, putting blokes back into different positions. And they'll just stick with the tried and true and the same blokes coming in doing the same thing. I mean, you really look at Fantasia coming in and out of the team, and I don't want to pick on a player or anything, but why hasn't, Moyer had a run yet? Why hasn't, Cooper Lord had a run yet? Binns, why they should have had more football, and they'll be better players for it. But hopefully we see that we've got to have faith. We've got to have faith in the people coming in. I think one of the great things that Craig McRae does is he doesn't care how many injuries or who's injured or whatever. He places an enormous amount of faith in the blokes who are coming into the team. And we seem to be worried about, a Jackson Binns because his disposal isn't, as good as it probably should be at that level. And I think he went at 56% on the weekend. But at least he gets the ball. At least he gets the ball. I'd rather have blokes who butcher it and still get it than the blokes who can't get it. And
Well, remember what John Kennedy said: where if you haven't got what did he say? If you haven't got the ball, you ain't going to get it, or some rubbish. Who's always if you got to get the ball, you got to tackle them. You can't make mistakes if you haven't got the ball.
I think his famous saying was, "Don't think, do."
Oh yeah, that was another one. He had another one. I can't think of it right now. Something about I knew Russell Morris. Well, I don't. I still know him. Russell Morris, who played at Hawthorn St Kilda, and he reckons Kennedy used to walk around sometimes telling him all these perils of wisdom. He goes, here I was, this young 18-year-old, and this old bloke in this dirty old man raincoat come up and just start talking to you. He said it's quite funny at the time, but anyway. Let's get some last thoughts, and then we'll move on to our votes and the Spirit of Carlton Award. I'll start with you, David.
So what are we after? Just some thoughts on the game? I think
some last thoughts.
Yeah, the great thing to come out of it was I think it showed that we've got some talented kids there. I've been saying over the last few weeks that there's a lot of pressure on our recruiting staff because obviously but the reason is we haven't seen these kids. We haven't seen them at that level, and they can play. They can play, and then that falls back onto the coaching staff now. But the great thing that can happen when you look at 6 injuries, major players, out of the team, and everyone's writing you off, and try different things, and hopefully our coaching. I was talking about Kemp, weeks ago when we played Geelong. Why wasn't he playing forward and Lewis playing back? I mean, that was so obvious with Radaglia out there, I think Kemp's a little bit of a worry as a backman because he'll fly for his marks. You drop him on the back line, and
it costs us a goal.
It costs you a goal. You fly for your marks in the forward line and drop them. Well, that's where your crummers are going to be. So, if you're not marking them, you're bringing it to the deck. So that's what you want to have happening. So I think, I just think the shuffling around that they've had to do could generate something that could be really good and give us a bit of a spark because that's what we need. That's what we need. And when we have Harry and Charlie back in that team, we need a spark. We don't want to go back and play that same old predictable bloody style of football we were playing. We need to and we need to be chaotic. And the ball was chaotic in the forward line because it was so windy and blokes were finding it hard to really hit targets and kick the ball. There were a lot of floaters, real bad floating kicks in the game, and that's because it was it was pretty breezy and swirling down there as well. So it was tough conditions, but hopefully the match committee can look at that and get something out of it because I think that they can really benefit from looking at that and looking at how we can be a better team and more unpredictable than we are at the moment.
Vince, last thoughts?
Well, out of the dark clouds of the previous weekend when we got smashed by Hawthorn, I think has come a ray of sunshine. I think, just to echo David's words, I reckon it was a blessing in disguise. It forced the selection committee and it forced our coaching staff to try new players. They really had no other option but to play these guys. In fact, the extended squad included another 3 players that had never played a game in Harry Lemmy, I think Dominic Aquay, and there was one other that didn't get a game. But I thought too many debutants would have, 6 debutants would have probably been too many. So they went with 3 effectively. I know Jackson Binns had technically played a game before, but essentially we went in with 3 brand new players. Jackson Binns, Ashton Moyer and Cooper Lord. And I think all 3 of them did very well for their first hit-outs. And, maybe we were fortunate to be playing a bottom 4 team, but it just goes to show you when you give these kids an opportunity, it opens your eyes to what's possible. And hopefully now that has expanded the thinking of our selection committee and our coaching staff because up until now, there's been no imagination. Selection integrity's almost been non-existent, and as Reece said, we've become a very, very predictable football team. Isn't it amazing the difference in performance from last week to this week? How does that happen? I just don't know. It just goes to prove most of it's all up here, I reckon.
Oh, it is, yeah, of course. It is.
It's nothing physical. It's more mental application, and I'm not sure how this team would have gone against Hawthorn the previous week, but I dare say they probably would have done a darn sight better, because in a lot of ways Hawthorn has been developed using players like this from probably a couple of years ago, who have since got another 30 and 40 games into them. And, yeah, they've copped their beltings on occasions, but I think Sam Mitchell's effectively developed a brand new, exciting team with what he's got available to him. And he's been prepared to, even trade off senior players to other clubs in order to get draft picks and rebuild that team. So I think we need to start looking to do things like that too, because a lot of our players are starting to get on as well. They're getting into their late 20s and early 30s, and we need to plan ahead as well, don't we? But anyway, look,
we're sitting in a space now where we look at the side we've got, and we genuinely think that this is our real chance. There is a premiership with this group. Maybe we have to bring some players in at the end of this year or whatever, and just bolster a few areas that we can be lacking. But overall, we're looking at Cripps, Walsh, Wiedering, Harry, Charlie are going to be they're going to be in a team that is going to bring us a premiership, and that's what excites the Carlton people, and it should excite other people. I mean, I think we should go looking for another tall backman at the end of this year. Whether it, I know that it's speaking to Haynes up at what's the name, but McGovern's brother might be another one. Jeremy McGovern might want to. In his last couple of years, come across and play in a premiership.
Play a role.
He's not going to play in a premiership. What's he going to do at West Coast over the next few years? So,
well, I got some breaking news for you. Sho Bolton has requested a trade to a WA club.
Yeah, he wants to go, so we can't blame him.
The rats are jumping off the ship.
Yeah, Richmond. There'll be a truckload of manure outside their front door again very shortly, and the microwaves will be buzzing with the Richmond membership cards.
Memberships. So, Anyway, all right.
Anyway,
so
look,
boys,
in essence, I thought it was a very good performance yesterday. Yep. Very exciting for the fans as well. But I'm not 100% sure what it says about where we're going from here, and whether that was a one-off type performance. But in the absence of players coming back this week, I guess again we're going to have no option but to keep playing these kids even next week.
Yeah, we've got it. Yeah. We're stick. We've got a couple of more injuries, so we're going to have to stick with them. And but we just got to go with that attitude, and that put it this way, you'd be proud if they're just having a crack. I mean, if you walk off and you get beat because you haven't got your best team out there, there's nothing to be ashamed of. But if you walk off not having a crack like we did against Hawthorn, that's when Carlton supporters can feel a little bit peed off and deservedly so, because you want your players out there having a red hot crack all the time.
Yeah. Before we go to the votes, David, I just had a question. Do we play Charlie and or Harry this week if they're only about 60% fit, or do we rest them? Give them what's on stake.
You don't play them. No, you don't play them if they're not fit. And Charlie especially, I don't think Charlie can play injured. I think he showed that last week. His mind wasn't. He didn't want to be there. His mind was gone. I mean, even when he could have kicked that ball to, I think it was Williams, who was right out in his zone at one stage, and he just didn't see it or didn't cope with it. But he just wasn't mentally there last week. And I don't think there are players who can carry injuries, who can, we bloody get jabbed in anywhere, just to play games of footy and to get out there. But they're not like that anymore. And if they're some of these so-called stars don't perform well when they're carrying something, so they're better off not being there. Harry a little bit different, I think. That big body and he can impose himself more out there. But Charlie needs to be 100%, so I wouldn't bring him back until he is 100%. And that might be this week, but it might be first week of the finals if we make it.
All right, let's get to the votes, David.
Yeah, I've gone. Obviously, Paddy Cripps gets the 3 votes there, and only just in front of Hewitt. I thought he was fantastic. Just I thought his work rate in that middle of the ground and footy smarts was fantastic. And Nick Newman, I like the way he plays. He's a real goer. I mean, that left foot's a real weapon, and he runs off. He creates a bit of annoying. He's annoying people down there. But look, in that third vote, I can see Weeders and Matt Kennedy there, but there was Ollie Hollins. There was quite a number of other.
You could have put nearly anyone in there.
Yeah, there was.
Could have even put Pitney in there. He played a good game, I thought.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah, Pitney was right up there too. So he was showing his strength, and hopefully that'll help, because he's tough job this week. Rowan
Marshall won't be easy this week.
No, but he's got to be physical with him and just do what he did on the weekend. And he was getting kicks out of the middle. He was bending over, picking the ball up, doing stuff he hasn't done with quite a while,
which was good. Big Vincenz, go.
Yes, look, again, Cripps and Hewitt both got 35 possessions each. George actually laid 10 tackles as well, and I thought it was an enormous game, probably worthy of 3 votes, to be honest. But I just thought Cripps did most of his work was that real hard stuff, right in the middle of the ground, getting the contested possession, feeding it out to the other players, and really led from the front. I'd be very, very surprised if he didn't get 3 votes from the umpires in this game. He's right under their nose all the time. George, I gave 2, a very well-deserved 2. And again, you could have raffled a 3rd vote amongst about 15 other players. But I gave it to Wiedering. I mean, when you keep your opposition down to 4 goals for the game, he just, time and time again, intercept marked. And it was just a steadying influence down there. He was the general of that back line. And, Oscar Allen, he absolutely pulled his pants down in front of his home crowd. He might as well have gone up to him and done exactly that, because metaphorically, that's what he did to him on the football field.
Very nice, Vince.
Hey?
That's not very nice. Pull his pants down.
What I'm saying is, metaphorically, he did pull his pants down, because
Oscar
Allen hardly had a sniff. And he was the captain of the West Coast Eagles. And, I thought Wiedering did a great job on him. So I gave him my 1 vote.
And I've gone Patrick Cripps, George Hewitt, and I thought Matt Kennedy deserved a vote. I thought he played a position that he doesn't normally play, full forward, whatever you want to be, very well. That brings us to the leaderboard. Now, I've updated it, so you guys haven't seen it for a couple of weeks.
I think we all know who's in front.
Yeah. And, the interesting thing is that Sam Walsh hasn't scored a vote for weeks.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it just shows what a purple patch he went through early on, and then his form dropped off. I thought he was a bit better on Sunday.
He's very good.
I thought he showed a bit more run. There was one passage of play I saw him run 120 metres just to get the return kick. So I guess that's good for all of us. So Patrick Cripps, he's won our award. I don't know what he wins. I'm sure he's sitting at home waiting for it. He'd be going, I wonder if it's a new car or a barbecue or a caravan or $10,000. Nah, it's
how about a red-eye flight with David Rees-Jones next time he plays in Perth?
It's a ticket to the live show. Come over to Thailand. Yeah. Anyway, it's now time for David's Spirit of Carlton Award, and the award goes to...
Brody Kemp. Brody Kemp wins it this week, and terrific. I've been a critic of him. I have been critical of him, and he's made some blues on the back line and that. But and I've been calling for him to be, put down to that forward line. So hopefully he stays down there, and I think he can be that third weapon down there, and a little bit unpredictable. And he's got some forward smarts. I think he's recruited as a forward in the initial, drafted as a forward. So let's see him down there, and let's hope he can, but kicking 4 goals was a fantastic effort. And
he gets a bag of chips. Do you know, there's an interesting story I heard about Brody Kemp. Do you know when he was drafted, they reckon he was going to be the next Marcus Bontempelli in the midfield. I didn't know this. I always thought he was a defender or a forward, but apparently he was a midfield. So maybe he's being played out of position. I don't know. Anyway, next week, gentlemen. Sorry, that should be round 24. I did make a mistake here. I was in a hurry. Sunday, 25th of August, Marvel Stadium. Be there this Saturday night, as Jack Little used to say on the old.
Not Saturday night, Sunday.
Yeah, but he used to say, be there this Saturday night at Festival Hall. So this Sunday, Marvel Stadium. The roof will definitely be closed, do we think?
It always is now. It doesn't matter how Sunday it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so we're going to have a fair knowledge of where we're sitting too, and that's going to, obviously the Port Adelaide game is after us, Port Adelaide Fremantle, but look, we can lose this game and still make finals, and that's the silly thing about it. But
then we're relying on Port Adelaide to beat Fremantle in Perth,
and Port Adelaide really should beat Fremantle, but. You can't rely on that. We need to put St Kilda away and pick up the 4 points, and that sort of ends Fremantle's year. So that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, our viewing audience are very keen. Peter Bobblehead, Blues by 10 points. DC, come on Blues. Rocco Morrow, Baggers by 30. Oh, I don't know. And then Peter says, I'd rather not depend on other teams. I'm the same. I think we'll win. There you go. I think there's too much at stake. And I think with the young, enthusiastic players, they'll probably see this maybe as an opportunity to play a finals game as well. So, look, Patrick says we're going to win by 40 points. Wayne says 30 points. Reese will probably say Carlton by 26.
No. I think we'll win by a couple of points. To be honest, I think it's going to be a tight game. Look, Ross Lyon plays. He's got a very negative style of coaching, and I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And whichever way it goes, there's not going to be much in it. But Carlton by 6.
All right, and Vince, who should have gone first.
Hey, by the way, what's the situation on the tipping ladder, Joe?
Well, I'm just about to show you.
He'll tell you after you tip.
Yeah, look, I think the two of us are together.
Yeah, with I don't know why that hasn't worked out. Vince is 13, I'm 13, and David's 11. That should. Don't know what's happened.
And you've gone for Carlton, and Reese has gone for Carlton.
Yeah.
This is our last
year.
You'll
go for St Kilda. I'll pick Carlton if I pick Carlton every week.
Yes.
Yeah, you have.
Well, how many games we've won? 13, haven't we?
Yeah, but there was a couple that we didn't. Did I see you? No, you haven't picked Carlton every week.
No, you haven't.
I don't think you have.
I reckon there might have been one week.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not playing for sheep stations.
All right. No, that's
God knows with Joe whether he's made mistakes and we just haven't picked it up, Bruce.
Probably.
Now, don't get me wrong. I want
the only way you can win Vince is going for St Kilda.
Yeah, just to be different. So it's either going to be him winning or me winning. We don't want the two of us to finish on the same score. So I'll go for the Saints by 1 point, and
I'll go for Carlton by 1 point.
And then Port Adelaide will beat Fremantle and we'll make the finals anyway. So hopefully it won't matter. But I'll just do that just to be different, so that we've actually got a winner in our footy tipping competition. How's that?
Yeah, thanks. All right. So listen, we're on a bit of a tight schedule. So David, on behalf of here, all of us here at Blue Sunday and the viewers, thank you very much for joining us on a Monday evening. I'm sure you got better things to do, like sleep after the red eye. And we will see you now next Sunday, Vince. We play at 1:30 or 3:30?
No. It's at 3:20. So the game will be over just before 6 o'clock. So we will come on air at 7:30. It'll be a tight schedule.
Who's going to do Who's going to do the presentation?
You are.
Oh, really? Okay. You think maybe that you could get it to me like more than an hour before we go on air?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Straight as soon as the game. So long as Reece gives me his 3, 2, 1.
Don't blame other people. Don't blame other people.
I'll be at Marvel. I'll shoot it straight through to you, Vince. But
Reece, it's him that I'm always waiting for. So, Reece, it's Vince I'm always waiting for. So don't let him put the blame on you.
No, I'll show you. I'll show you the text message. I'll show you the text message and the time.
No worries. Anyway, thanks very much, David. Have a good week.
Thanks,
we'll see
guys.
you next Sunday. See you, mate.
Go the Blues. That's a big week for us.
Good on you, mate.
Okay, Vince. So since we're on the timeline, let's just go through the scores quickly.
Okay, Friday night, Sydney Swans put an end to Essendon's year. Second half absolutely smashed them. 15 goals, 8.98 to Essendon, 8.11.59. And as predicted by many people when Essendon was second on the ladder, a lot of people thought that was a false position for them. They'd hardly beaten anyone. And since playing all the good sides, they've lost a number of games and now they're out of the finals. And that's now 20 years without a finals win.
Let's go. Suns and Melbourne.
The Suns. Well, gee whiz. I mean, a lot of people would have thought Suns are almost unbeatable at home, and against the depleted Melbourne side, they were very disappointing. 9-9-63, and Melbourne smashed them. 18-9-117 in a welcome return to form for the Demons by 9 goals.
On Saturday,
the Giants, the juggernaut keeps rolling. Geez, they're a good team. 15 goals, 11-101. To a gallant Fremantle Dockers, 14-8-92, but that's Fremantle's third loss in a row, and now they're out of the 8, and now they rely on other sides to lose, and they have to win against Port Adelaide this week in order to regain their spot in the 8. And it's going to go right down to the last game this coming Sunday night.
Then the one I couldn't get over.
Oh, goodness me. Aren't Brisbane disappointing when they've got a lead against Collingwood? 11-12-78. They were 18 points in front, 17 points in front when Joe Danaher missed a shot that he should have kicked.
And after 18 points,
they let it go, and in the end they lost by a point. 11-13-79 Collingwood. That temporarily kept Collingwood's finals hopes alive, but we put an end to that by beating the Eagles. Collingwood can't effectively make it now. They'd have to win by 30 goals this week in order to make up the percentage difference. So they can't make the finals now. The reigning premiers, out.
Let's go. The showdown.
Port Adelaide, 11-14-80 in a second half, way better in the second half in their performance against the Adelaide Crows in the showdown, 8-10-58. St Kilda, as I said earlier, second half were brilliant against Geelong, and they beat them, 16-11-107 to 14-5-89, and that was a bit of a surprise result, but Geelong only have to play West Coast this week at home, so they'd probably finish in the top 4. Western Bulldogs, after last week's very disappointing loss to Adelaide, came back and smashed North Melbourne, 2018-138 to North Melbourne, 6-6-42, and I think Mad Monday can't come quickly enough for the Kangaroos. And next week they play this team, Hawthorn, who won yet again by a big margin, 19-17, 131 to a hapless Richmond, 10 goals, 8-68 by 63 points. So
let's get
Richmond,
to the ladder.
Bottom of the ladder. This is the ladder. As you can see it there, Sydney's got top position wrapped up. Port Adelaide and GWS, they're currently in second and third, and the incentive for them is if they finish second, either of them, they get a home final in the first week, and if they win that, they get another home final in the third week of the finals. So lots to play for. Port Adelaide there, currently in second. GWS in third. Geelong in fourth and should win this week. So I think the top four is set in terms of which teams will be in there, but it may change in order depending on the results this weekend. The second four teams, as in Brisbane, who should beat Essendon, you would think, probably finishes in fifth and gets a home final in week one. Western Bulldogs, now they have to play GWS. That's a huge game on Sunday afternoon. That could determine even if the Western Bulldogs make it at all, because if both Hawthorn and Carlton win, and even if Fremantle happens to win.
And Fremantle win.
Right, that means that the Doggies will slip out of the 8. So they really have to take on that game like it's a must-win elimination final at Ballarat on Sunday. Hawthorn, that is a...
Can't hear you, Vince. Yeah, go.
You there?
Yeah,
Sorry,
go.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Hawthorn, what are you doing?
Waiting for you to talk.
Hawthorn, I'm hearing drum beats.
Not from me.
Not from you? Anyway.
No,
Hawthorn,
it must be your phone.
I don't know. Hawthorn are on 52. They should win and at least finish in 7th, if not higher. And Carlton is currently back in the 8 on 52 points and a percentage of 110.7. So essentially, Joe, we've just got to look at it as we've got to beat St Kilda and we make it.
Okay, let's go for the next 8 because we're on a schedule.
Ladder, Fremantle on 50. Collingwood can't make it now on 48. Essendon on 46. Melbourne on 44. St Kilda on 40. Gold Coast on 40. And then Adelaide 34. They will finish in that 15th position because they can't catch up to Gold Coast and they can't fall further south than that 15th position. So that's where they will finish.
West
Coast the same. They're in 16th. North Melbourne on 12. And if Richmond wins this weekend, they may be able to get off the bottom of the ladder.
Okay. That brings us to... Now, Vince, that was only at your end, the noise. A couple of the viewers have said it as well. So I don't know what you got playing on in the background. Hey?
That drum beat just keeps coming. How about if I come out and come straight back in again quickly?
No, let's. Well, it's up to you. Hey?
Will that help if I go out and come back in?
Probably not. I don't know. Let's keep going.
Tell everyone about the Jumper Punch shows that are coming up.
All right, go. So, look, while we're waiting for Vince, remember, let me find the... Here it is. The Jumper Punch show. It's the live show. It's on Sunday, the 31st of August, 7 p.m. at the Lazio Marco Club. $59 includes finger food of 6 courses and drinks at bar prices. And young Vince is back. So let's go. Still got the drum beat?
There. Don't
know
what happened.
Vince, do you know what time it is?
Time for...
Okay, Vince. Give us your
Thought I'd take a break from the heavy political stuff this week.
Hallelujah.
All I want to say is that should have been a massive lesson on Sunday for the coaching staff, as I said earlier. Brodie Kemp has been played out of position pretty much for his entire career. And I think it was purely by accident that we've discovered that this guy can actually play forward. He can jump high. He can take marks. He's very mobile. He's a lot quicker than most of our other key forwards. And, I remember not that long ago we had Harry and Charlie and Tom DeConning down there in the forward line. And they were very big and tall and slow. And I reckon Brodie Kemp might just provide that tall, high half forward type role where he can take marks and kick goals and not have to worry about being accountable for his defender. So, for his for the forward that he's playing on when he plays in defence. So I think he'll be a lot happier down there. It's a little bit like Zach Williams. He's essentially been a half-back flanker for most of his career. This year, I believe he went to the coaching staff and said, "Look, I'm not happy down there. I want to play forward." So they've done that, and he's never looked back. And I think Zach Williams now is another player who we've discovered can play forward and very effectively. So I think Brody Kemp's another one of those. And I think that's where he should remain now, especially if he can keep producing form like he showed yesterday.
Okay, Vince, where are we? Sorry, I'm just doing a couple of things here. It is time for your bet of the week. You lost last week. I don't know what's happened to the format, because in my PowerPoint presentation, the format's okay, but I'll because people can't see it, I'll read out your bets. Is that right?
All right.
You've got Melbourne are playing Collingwood, so you've gone for Collingwood at $1.65. Geelong are playing West Coast. You've gone for Geelong at $1.06. Richmond are playing Gold Coast. You've gone for Richmond, and they're at $2.52, which seem pretty good odds considering Gold Coast have only won one game this year away from home. I thought that's a pretty good bet. You've gone for Hawthorn to beat North Melbourne, which I think is pretty safe at $1.06. You've gone for Sydney to beat Adelaide at $1.34. And you've also gone for Carlton to beat St Kilda. The odds add up to $11, and the payout will be $110. So, Vince, if we win, we'll have won $10 for the whole year.
Oh, well, it's been a bit of fun.
People, I'm not on speed. I'm not falling apart. We need to get off this channel in the next 15 minutes as the double program is coming on at 8 o'clock. We don't normally do the show on a Monday night, so that's why I'm probably rushing through so that we can get all the viewers that want to have a look at the double program.
Yeah.
Again, it shows all the wins and losses. I don't know why the formatting has not come across, but I will read it out to you. We started the year at $100. We've lost $283, but we've won $193. That leaves us a balance of $10. So, Vince, you're on your last legs.
Down to our last $10, Joe.
Can you do it? Is this the get out stakes?
This is the get out stakes. This is our last $10, and if we lose it, well, no more bet of the week after next week, which effectively is the last round of the home and away season anyway. So we won't bother during the final series, but let's hope that Carlton is part of that final series, because as we discussed last week, you'd rather make it than not make it, and you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the way the results are panning out, we might find ourselves in a game against, the Western Bulldogs or against Hawthorn, and we could be playing in Melbourne. We don't necessarily just finish in 8th and have to play Brisbane in the first week. It could pan out differently. So in a very unpredictable season, you're a brave person to predict how the ladder's going to finish. And really, we're all only going to know once that final game between Port Adelaide and Fremantle over in Perth is complete. So, in fact, when we're on air next week at 7:30, that game will be probably at around about the third quarter. So maybe during our show, we're going to find out whether Fremantle and Port Adelaide, or which one of those teams has won, and what the final ladder positions will be. So going through the ladder and going through the results, that might be very appropriate at around about the 1 hour and 30-minute mark next week.
Yeah. Okay. So, guys, as you all know, I'm on speed. Let's go through the shows that are happening this week. After us at 8 o'clock, you will have the guys with double. I don't know why, but my formatting hasn't come through, so I'll read it out. Tuesday night at 7 p.m, you've got the Jumper Punch live. Wednesday night, you've got Forever Rivals at 7:30 live. Thursday at 7 p.m, you've got Rash with the Change Room live. And then on Sunday night, you've got Blue Sunday again. We'll be at 7:30, Vince, or 8 o'clock, do you think?
Look, 7:30. We'll leave it at the usual time of 7:30. on Sunday night. That's our normal time slot. Stay tuned, I guess, for any notifications. Make sure that you've subscribed to the channel. You'll get the notifications half an hour in advance as to when the show's going to start. If it is delayed for any particular reason, whether it's because me or Reese haven't come back from the stadium yet, or because you're still compiling the visuals for the show, I'm not sure. But look, let's aim to try and get on air at 7:30, and I reckon we should be right.
Okay. So let's just go through some admin. Remember, the Jumper Punch live show, Saturday 31st of August, 7 p.m, Lazio Market Club, $59, includes a meal. And Vince, how forgetful of me, there are some special guests, Heath Scotland and the Chief, Simon Wiggins. So just to reiterate, you will have some chat with Heath Scotland and Simon Wiggins. Rocco, I apologise. I did look at that and I forgot to write it down. So it's all in the graphic. It's all in the link. Don't forget, the Jumper Punch is proudly sponsored by Blue Crypto. So download the Phantom wallet from the App Store, join Blue's Crypto Telegram, and mention the Jumper Punch. Share your Solana wallet address and receive 10,000 tokens. All of that means nothing to me, but I'm sure to you people in the crypto world, that means something. And last but not least, don't forget our own DJ Rash has his book out, For the Record and Off the Record. Can't wait to get my copy. I'll pick a copy up when I'm in Australia because we don't get Amazon here in Thailand. So, really looking forward to seeing and reading that book. Last but not least, don't forget, you can see us at Facebook at Blue Sunday and also at The Jumper Punch. And you can watch us at both at The Jumper Punch on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It only helps the channel and it helps things get better for yourselves. Vince, on that note,
hang on.
Don't tell me. You've got a cheerio.
Yes, I do. Just want to give a big cheerio to a guy that will be known to many of our viewers because he's part of a group of guys who also do a fantastic show every Monday night. In fact, I reckon they'll be on in probably about an hour and a half from now. They usually come on at about 9 o'clock. And it's to Andy from the Monday Blues. I went and popped into his bottle shop there in Devon Road, Pascoe Vale. He's got a terrific bottle-o shop. And, I popped in there and we met for probably the second time, I think. I think I met him at the Jumper Punch live show, the first one that we did. But we didn't get to speak much. And this time we spent a bit of time together. So it was great meeting him. Really great guy. How are you, Andy? And all the boys from the Monday Blues. If you haven't tuned into their show, do yourself a favour and tune into that once you finish watching Double Double tonight. So all the best to them. And no doubt they'll be excited by Carlton's victory over West Coast Eagles. If
anyone else that wants a cheerio, please send an email to cheerios@vincelochisano.com. So he'd be more than happy to do it. On that note, Vince, it's good night from me, and I would just like to finish by saying, let us keep the faith. Let's hope that the team can get through this weekend and that we don't have to rely on other results. It'd be good to get there on, off your own bat.
Yes.
So,
and how charitable have I been? Joe?
Sorry?
How charitable have I been in allowing you to win the footy tipping competition by selecting St Kilda?
That's very charitable, Vince. But you're a giver, not a taker. But no, let's hope that I think we've played well enough this year. But it'd be good if we could get there off our own bat and not have to rely on other people. So it's good night from me. And
good night from me. And let's hope that the Blues can win next week and earn our place in the finals for the second year in a row. And you never know from there what might happen. So
exactly.
All the best.
So good night, everybody. Go Blues.
Go Blues.
We are the Navy Blues. We are team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark blue.